Hello, and welcome to Cardboard and Plastic. Today's video, I have some cards I got in the mail this week, and in the background you can see some high-graded PSA cards, right? So I'm going to talk about the value of high-graded PSA vintage and what I think it's going to do in the future, 2025 and beyond. So before I do that, let's show off some cards. So the first card is not a big card at all, and none of these are big cards. But this is a Gil McDougall, 1954 Redman Tobacco. I bought that for, I think, $8.25 shipped. That's the eBay ESE program, eBay standard envelope. And so it cost the seller $1 to ship that card out. So really happy with that card. I am not going to be grading that set. I think I'm going to be looking for all raw ones, maybe some of the bigger cards that are worth like $500 to $1,000, even in like a 4 grade. I might just get those in slabs, but I'm just going to put those together and just keep them in the card savers and just stack them, because I would need a museum, right? If I had every single card I own graded, kind of like what John Mangini needs to store all his Zion Mag Pros. So this is one of the collections I'm kind of just trying to put together, but one I'm getting closer on is the 1951 Topps red back set. I'm working on the blue back set, and I traded 2 graded cards for 7 raw 1951 Topps cards here, so I'll show off there. So the 2 cards I traded were a 74 Winfield rookie and a 1966 Hank Aaron double that I had, both graded by CGC. Nice cards. And the seller, sorry, not the seller, the person I traded with, I did a few trades with them in the past. They were kind of, they thought they were getting the better deal. I'm like, no. Like, there's one card in here that's worth a lot of money. Like, this is an even trade. So they actually like snuck a bunch of these in there as well, and they said, I get next time too, I'll give you some credit for the trades. I'm like, no. Like, I'm really happy with the trade. This is pro mold for the 1952 to 56 Topps cards. And kind of like disappointed with this, right? I wish Zion Mag Pro made their cases just a little bit bigger, so they could have actually had these all stackable with their old ones, but they didn't do that. Didn't think ahead, probably with vintage collectors on it and how much vintage collectors would love that. So I will definitely use these because I have a few cards that are really nice, but not nice enough to get graded, like a 1954 Topps beautiful Monty Irvin, right? And I'll definitely put that in one of those pro molds. So the cards I traded for were 7 of these, well, 6 redbacks and 1 blueback. And let me show you one. So this is one I needed. This is a Dom DiMaggio. And that one is like a $25, $30 card. Actually, if somebody like that condition is really nice, there's no surface wrinkles, which are really kind of rare for those cards to not have like surface wrinkles on them. And I now need 8 cards to finish off the set. Really 10. There's 2 cards that have variations, team variations on them, so I got to get those right for the complete set. And really, it may turn out to be a bigger adventure than that when all's said and done. I got one of these traded as well to me, and one of them, right, these are kind of like, there's white backs, and then there's like cardboard stock backs here. Both of these, like if you ever see them, they're both real. There's not many reprints or fakes of these cards here. But this is like something there that this may turn into 54, 108. It may turn into 108 cards for me to put together the set in both backs together. I love that set. But it gets expensive for the Hall of Famers. And we have kind of an issue right now where we have people like myself trying to put these sets together, and then there's also people that are trying to just collect Hall of Famers. And it's kind of really driving up the price of a lot of these Hall of Famers. There's only 4 Hall of Famers in the blueback, and so this is one of them, Bobby Doerr. So this card, by the way, beautiful with this. And this is why I kind of told the person I was trading with, like, that's an expensive card. The only ones I've seen, like, sold recently, like, there was one that was, like, $60 that had, like, I think, writing on it. The last one was, like, $80, and this one's in much nicer condition. So they're worth a lot of money for those Hall of Famers. So there's 4 in the bluebacks. I have 3 of the 4 now. I got to upgrade my red Shane Dean. It's not in good condition. It's actually doesn't just have surface wrinkles. It is creased. So I want to update that one. I have an Enos Slaughter, and I think I still need the Richie Ashburn, which is going to be another $100+ card. Please don't grade them. They go for great prices raw, unless you know it's going to get a 9 or a 10, and they really are not going to give those grades right now at PSA. This is like an example of somebody that graded it, and this is my only graded one, and it's going to be ungraded pretty soon. This card with the Phil Rizzuto, I needed to buy one for my set, and I wanted to find a nice raw one, and I wanted to spend, it doesn't want to stand up there, I wanted to spend right about like $30, right? Right now they're going for $40-50. I bought that one for $20, right? And it costs like $20 for the person to grade it, right? So, and by the time they shipped it out there with eBay fees, they lost money on that card by grading it, right? So I would have bought that card raw for $25-30. And I bought it for like $20-25, I think. So I don't like, though, like I wanted to try to buy another one raw and then sell that because there's a lot of resources, right? And they put time into that. It's in a nice plastic showcase there. But I want to keep all my cards together. Eventually probably put these in a binder. And I'm trying to find another raw one out there for $30. And like they're going for like, in that condition, like it would be like $50-60 at this point. So I think I am just going to free that card out of the slab. And unfortunately, like if I need cards, I think that's what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be buying them in slabs. They're just as cheap as, they're a lot of times cheaper because people don't want to bother with the graded cards at all for this 1951 Topps red set, redback set. And it's cheaper to buy them graded and then just crack them out. So in the background, I just want to talk a little bit about this. These are 4 cards that I bought raw, and I graded with PSA. And they got high grades. And the value of these went up tremendously. Now, I thought that this was a dollar card. I actually checked. I did buy one for $1, but I also bought one for $3.68. So I actually bought that for $3.68. And I'll just go card by card. And these are 4 cards that in 2025 I'm getting rid of because of their value, right? So $3.68, and it cost me about $18 to grade them and ship them with PSA. So this card, by the way, so nice. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if it got a 10. The last PSA 9 version of this sold for $247, right? So that is crazy, but I don't think the prices are going to come down. I could see them even increasing in price more for these high-graded vintage, and I'll talk about that after I show these cards off. So this one, I bought this set. Somebody opened it up, and it was the 1983-84 Star set, and I graded like the big ones there. Actually, even like the ones that, like Kurt Rambis, right? That's considered his rookie card. And I made my money back on the Kurt Rambis alone. And like I think the Kurt Rambis sold for like $160. Byron Scott got a PSA 8. I sold that one for like $70. This is a Hall of Famer, but like I don't need it. Like there's raw ones that are like $10, $12 that are in really nice shape. The last PSA 9 for this sold for $100. So like personally, I don't need an uncommon, well, this is a short print, right? There's not many of them, but I don't need a high grade for these cards. I have a beautiful 1978 Stallworth rookie that I have just in a top loader, and this got a 9, and now the last one sold for $120. You could go all, like ComC has like 20 of these for like $3. And this is a 1965 Philadelphia Fran Tarkenton. This got an 8. I bought this one. Okay, so yeah, that one I bought for like $2. I know that one is $3.68, I think. This one, basically now it's like a whole set for $150. And this guy I bought for $15, right? And it gets an 8, and the last one sold for $120. So this $600 right here could be turned into a beautiful, and I'm looking for like a 1956 Topps Hank Aaron, right? Right about in the 4 grade. Now, why am I looking for the 4 grade? I'm looking for a nice version that I know is not going to have like surface wrinkles that I can't see across his face. So it's just like my preference. And usually if you get like the 4s to the 5s, it's not going to have that issue. So why do I think that these cards are actually going to maintain their value? And unfortunately, like, it is, we have so many uneducated people that are in the vintage hobby right now, or they're going to still be coming into the hobby. And it actually takes time for even a new person to kind of learn the vintage hobby, right? So people like Double D Vintage collected for years with high graded PSA cards, right? And then something triggered in them, and he like really specifically said, like, I'm going to care about eye appeal. I'm not going to like just let PSA tell me how to collect. PSA, first of all, like I got a couple of reasons why they're going to keep their value. Number one, the PSA registry. The PSA registry, people get these cards, they pay money for them, and then they just sit in their collection. They're not going to get rid of them because they're competing for these sets. By the way, this could only get worse. PSA has neglected their registry. Imagine if they put more time and resources into the registry and actually gave these cards utility, right? They actually said, okay, well, the top set for this particular set is going to get free $10,000 in grading, or you get a free trip out to the PSA facility and meet Nat Turner, right? So they have the opportunity to even make these cards more valuable by prizes, by giving these high grades utility. So we have competition and utility, and it could even drive the prices higher. The second reason is the ultra-modern hobby. It's gross, right? We have these people breaking and gambling, and there's a lot of people that are in the ultra-modern that kind of see that like vintage is a lot more stable, and they're trying to get into it, right? So, and I think you find that a lot, that a lot of people say, like, who cares about the the players that aren't playing anymore, right? Well, if you're in the hobby and you like to collect, you eventually get drawn backwards in time, right, for the history of the collecting the cards. For instance, I don't know how this popped up in my feed, but there's this person, I get Mary Gamble, right? Where it's not a good name if you're a collector. But I was kind of like watching the video there that she was looking at vintage cards. And from the video, it seems that she just likes to collect and is kind of interested in like the downtowns and the rarer cards, right? And then she saw the vintage, and you could actually see like extremely interested, and actually said something pretty wise with saying like, I don't really know like the difference between a 5 and 6 and what people are looking for in these cards, right? So that showed right there that a lot of people don't care about that. They just see like, okay, a 6 is a 6 and it sells for this much money with the comps, and you don't have to worry about anything else, right? So we have a lot of people that are going to be coming into the vintage hobby, and what do they look for? Well, in their hobby with ultramodern, the only thing they care about is having a PSA 10. And so when they get into vintage, I mean, they're not going to look at PSA 10s because they're crazy prices, right? Like you have like a team card from 1968 go for $5,000. But they're going to look at pop reports. They're going to look at how many 9s there are, how many 8s there are, and make that influence their decision on the card. They're not going to look at eye appeal because it does. Like if you're new into the vintage hobby, you don't know what vintage collectors want, right? So if you see an 8, you see a 9, right? You're just going to believe that grade, and then you're going to look at other 9 sales, and you're going to pay that price. And a lot of people, they do this as an investment, right? So they're just going to say like, I bought a 9 and I bought it for like $20 underneath the comps. And then they're going to realize, oh, wait, there actually is a difference between a 9 and a 9 OC, right? So there's a lot of people that don't know the like OC for off-centered or the PD for the print defects. Like they don't know that. And so a lot of people get ripped off that way because that really doesn't occur in the ultra-modern hobby. So we have the PSA registry, utility, and I'm just seeing more and more young people getting into vintage, right? And I think those 3 things are going to even increase the price of these cards even more. Now, I actually do have some modern cards, and I just want to show these off because some cards still just make sense, in my opinion, to buy, and actually the prices make more sense. So here's one example of a modern card that I have. And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's in a CSG slab, a BGS, a PSA, SGC. If you look at the, or raw, like for these, like this is like a $200 card, $250 in a 9, no matter what the grading company is for this Giannis rookie card, right? So this card, for me, is kind of like what I'm just looking to buy. Just cards like are, when the raw price is the same as the graded price, right? You get a free slab to show that off there. By the way, that's a team color match too, right? And really the PSA 10s aren't insane for that card. I think they go for $450, right? So like under double the price for a PSA 10, right? I still wouldn't buy it because they don't know the difference between a 9 or a 10. But for like a card like that, right? It really is not unreasonable if you want a perfect grade, right? Now there's some cards are just ludicrous, right? Like that I've showed you in the past where I have a PSA 9 Topps Gold Shaq that's like under $100 for a PSA 9, and then PSA 10 it's $1,000, right? Like a 10 times multiplier is ludicrous. Now, the pops on that are actually pretty low if you actually take a look at it. There's only like 5,000 graded under with PSA, right? So, and that's probably going to go down as like one of his top rookie cards that's not like a color or something like that, right? Numbered. And this is another card that I had right next to it, and a Kawhi Leonard. And this is 2012 rookie, so you can barely see it with the rookie. This card, I'm actually, like, I would like to touch this without the slab here. They said like this card actually has like almost like a wood finish, like a wood veneer. And that's why a lot of the autographs are just really bad on this card. So this has actually got a 10 for the auto, so really nice card there. And I think I'm going to buy like one of the lesser rookies, right, from the autographs there from that set, because I just want to touch the card to actually see what it feels like, right? Because it loses a lot of its meaning, like inside that slab. But a lot of these cards, right, and this is a really important thing for me, is if I took this card out of the slab, if I took this card out of the slab, it wouldn't lose hardly any money whatsoever. Right? So the slab isn't telling me how much to spend for the card. The card is telling me how much to spend for it. This card, if I took this out of the slab, even though it's beautiful, right? I mean, this went from what? $247 down to $10 if I'm lucky. And then I probably couldn't even get $10 for that. I have beautiful 1968 Topps cards that are probably 7/8 at least, just like sitting on my eBay store that nobody wants to even buy for like $8 of Hall of Famers, right? So 100%, right? That card's value is tied to the slab. Is it crazy? Yes, I think it is. However, I don't see it crashing in price. I don't think collectors are that smart, or it takes time to learn that. And there's still people that will just buy it because they have way too much money and they just want to compete, right? And that's what it is, right? So, in the comments below, let me know, what do you think's going to happen to high-graded vintage prices, right? Do you think they're going to crash? Do you think they're going to stay steady? Or are you kind of thinking like me, that these things are just going to go up in price because some of the factors that I listed? So as always, have a great day. Keep on collecting.